Hey, I'm Dana with Diggin In with Dana, and today I have a special guest with me, a friend of mine named Matthew Miller, and he is with Compassionate Home Assistance. And thank you for coming on with me today, Matthew.
I'm honored and excited, actually.
Yes.
This will be fun.
Yeah, so I want to learn a little bit about you and a little bit about what you do, and tell us a little bit about your business. But first of all, tell us a little bit about you.
Well, sure, yeah.
Where are you from?
Okay.
All that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I grew up in Washington State, where my family resided, oldest of four. And we had a great upbringing. And about 15 or so, when I was about 15 or so in 2000, I think it was one, we moved from Washington State to Phoenix because mom and dad are real tired of the rain that was there.
Oh.
So we moved here and started our life. So I've been here ever since.
Oh, okay.
So 22 years or so now, coming up on.
Yeah, so you're like almost a native then.
Basically, yeah.
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 You've lived through many hot summers. Let's just say that, right?
No disrespect though to the actual natives of Arizona.
Right. So, what is your business? What is Compassionate Home Assistance?
Man, I really kind of came upon this essentially by accident. I'm a serial entrepreneur, so I'm always doing something fun and exciting and changing things and trying new things, to which my wife gives me a hard time, but that's okay. Long story short, I got into real estate. Got into wholesaling properties, purchasing them and selling them to investors for more money. And I really quickly found that I was becoming really disenchanted with the transaction style, phone calls and text messages and emails, basically. And that was really the gist of it.
Oh, okay.
And what I've always had a mantra of is I really want to help people.
Yeah.
And I don't know what that exactly looks like, but I want to help people. And so I started looking at who we were helping with real estate. And most of the folks that we were helping were seniors that needed to make the transition from their forever home into care. A lot of times they had planned unaccordingly financially in order to afford that. And so I said, well, what if I still do this real estate stuff but more specifically, focus on help seniors?
Yeah.
And so that's what born Compassionate Home Assistance.
So what exactly do you do to help the seniors? Like you're saying that you work with them in their later years where they're ready for like a senior assisted living facility or something like that. Do you help them at that point, or where do you come into play with the process?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the typical scenario is I'm working with the most responsible adult child in this transaction, but mom or dad have been kind of doing the best they can. The typical story is dad passed away 4 or 5 years ago, and mom's been kind of getting along the best that she can. And what happens is unfortunately usually a fall. Mom or dad has a fall, and then that's when the most responsible adult child will get into the conversation and start facilitating how to help mom.
Yeah.
And they find out, the first thing is, let's look at having mom or dad stay home and let's pay for in-home care, to which they find out a lot of the time it's very expensive.
Uh-huh.
Some care can go up to $30,000 a month, 24/7 care.
Wow.
And so these families start looking at an assisted living community.
Yeah.
And I know you said facility. I really stay away from the F word.
Oh.
But communities, because these assisted living facilities are truly communities. The people there care. Okay. There's fantastic food and fantastic events going on, of which a lot of them I've personally been a part of.
Yeah.
Yesterday's event over at Avante Senior Living in Peoria was a charcuterie board class.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I'll have to get some photos, but...
so they stay very active and very busy. They just need help every day, right?
Yeah,
That's
correct.
what assisted living actually means.
Yeah, it's actually based off of something called ADLs, or active daily living requirements, like toileting or bathing and stuff like that. Folks need help with.
Yeah.
And in our society, folks, mom and dad don't stay home.
Yeah.
And it's kind of crazy because a lot of other countries, societies,
Excuse me.
Mom and dad stay in the home until they pass, basically.
Oh, okay.
But anywho, finding that the most responsible adult child is trying to, let's call it speed date, these communities to find out which one will work best, because most of the time that adult child is living 400 miles away, out of state. It's
Oh,
very common.
yeah.
So they're putting their life on hold in order to help mom and dad's affairs. And they finally find a community, and they look at their affluent brother or sister going, you're going to pay for the $6,000 bill a month, right? And that's when they very quickly realize that, how are we going to fund this care? And a lot of the times, mom and dad haven't planned. And so the only equity that they have is, unfortunately, in their home.
Right.
And so the story a lot of times will go that a realtor will typically come in and say, okay, we can help sell the house. It's going to go on the MLS, but you need to clean the place out, all this stuff, all this junk,
Yeah.
and paint a couple walls and update the kitchen and then get it sold. And a lot of the times folks don't realize really what's involved. I mean, that's an 8-month process a lot of the times
Yeah.
to get it cleaned out, to get it cleaned up, to get it MLS ready,
Right.
to get it sold. And typically I'm coming in offering to purchase the property as is, and also offering to purchase the personal property as a way to help them move their stage of readiness up from the typical word of I'm not ready to, hey, my hands up, I'm ready to make that transition.
Yeah. Yeah. I apologize for my coughing and sneezing attacks today. The allergies are killing me this week. So I apologize for that. But I think it's a wonderful thing that you're doing to help these people. So what do you do? Step in at that point with the oldest child or adult that's in that decision-making process. You said it takes a long while. So do you step in and make their life a little easier at that point?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, goodness.
I've been networking in the senior living industry for some time now. What happens is you start becoming friends with people, and you communicate you find out about their job and about how they help people. And so when I am working with that most responsible adult child, this is a crisis moment. It's not a fun experience.
Right. It's a lot of emotion.
A lot of emotion, a lot of uncertainty, and a lot of lack of resources.
Yeah.
And so what I've been really focused on doing is obviously help them with the home and the personal belongings, but also help guiding them in making this whole transition, because there's so many different factors from placement. How do we know that community is going to be a good place for my loved one?
Yeah.
Do they qualify for any sort of government assistance? Is there veteran aids and attendance benefits that they can qualify for?
Oh.
What sort of insurance might someone need? What sort of typical moving, getting a moving company,
Right.
all that stuff. Think about the checklist that starts adding up.
Yeah.
And then how are we going to pay for it? So, yeah, it's very overwhelming.
Yeah. So you assist with that stuff.
That's correct.
You
Yeah.
assist. So do you work with the care communities to do that? So you're familiar with all of the different places out there and things like that, or do you just work with one particular community?
Yeah. So families' needs always change, and they're always different.
Yeah.
And so I really focus on trying to meet the family where they're at and find out what's important to them.
Oh, okay.
Where geographically, it's important to be closer to mom and dad, because then you can see them a little bit easier.
Yeah.
If they're 45 minutes away, we don't need a deterrent not to go and see mom and dad.
Right.
And so I've been so blessed to have these folks that I know in the senior living community that I can refer to and pull into a situation in order to wrap this family in love.
Yeah, I see. Wow. It's pretty awesome thing that you're doing, because I know that I've had several friends, I'm not quite there yet, but I have several friends that have had to help with their parents, and that they have got to that stage, and it is overwhelming for people, and you don't know, especially perhaps if you don't live in the same state, you don't know who to reach out to or how to proceed. So I think that that's a really awesome thing, a service that you're providing to people, because, people need to know there are folks out there like you that will help.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really an underserved community.
Yeah.
I do believe.
Yeah, I believe so too. So anything else about that stuff that you want to talk about? Anything in particular that's a niche or a problem or a solution or something that you you could just offer to people that are listening, to advise them of how to proceed.
Yeah, I mean, I guess my message would really be to the most responsible adult children out there, letting them know that, hey, you're not alone. And if you need help, reach out.
Yeah.
There's lots of support. There's lots of folks who will give their time freely in order to help people.
Yeah.
I guess that would be the biggest message.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
So it's almost turned into a byproduct of my association with helping, has turned into, will you please buy this home and will you please buy this stuff?
Yeah.
So.
Because then it takes it off their plate, and they can move forward to what the next step is for them, right?
Right. I mean, the last gal that I helped, she wanted to stay in her home for about another 2.5 months while she kind of went through some things. And I have a fun question for you. What do you call a hoarder that you like?
I don't know.
You call them an aggressive collector.
Oh.
And so
yeah,
this gal was an aggressive collector and had lots of life in the home, and she wanted to go through the items and wanted to take about 2.5 months to do that.
Oh.
After learning her situation and kind of hearing the problem that she needed help solving, I was able to help her move into that community 2.5 months sooner than what she had originally anticipated.
Oh, wow.
Which is great because she was isolated, and now she has help. She has a community of a senior living community that will help her with all the items that she might need. But in this case, there was a placement agent involved. They obviously have an incentive to help that individual, and hospice was involved, and
wow.
So it was a win. It was a win in 4 ways.
Yeah. So how would someone get in touch with you to ask the questions to, like, an adult,
Sure.
Who's in that situation? How would they reach out to somebody like you?
Yeah. Best way to get a hold of me, I guess, would be you can go to the website, compassionatehomeassistance.com.
Okay.
You can reach me at matthew@compassionatehomeassistance.com.
Yeah.
Phone number will be fine, 623-335-0335. Pretty easy.
Yeah.
And I'll get with you as soon as I can.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming and telling us a little bit about this, because I don't think that people know what to do. It's just an emotional time. You have to make decisions. It's hard to know where the resources are. So it's a wonderful service that you're providing. And I thank you for coming on. But before we sign off, I have to do a couple questions. Are you ready for this?
Oh, give it to me. Let's go.
What's your favorite ice cream?
Ice cream. I'm not a sweets person.
Okay.
That doesn't mean I don't enjoy ice cream.
That's true.
But I would have to say, it's been a while since I've had it, but probably mint chocolate chip.
Oh, okay. That's the first one I've heard for mint chocolate chip. Okay, and so then what's your favorite burger around town?
My favorite burger, definitely In-N-Out.
In-N-Out burger. Okay.
Yep.
There you go. And then Italian or Mexican food?
Oh, boy. I would be undecided on that one, I think.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, well, what's your favorite place to go eat Italian or Mexican food?
I could think it would probably be Mexican food then.
And where would that be, your favorite location to go eat it?
There's
Taco Bell?
No, actually not.
Okay.
Wait, that's Mexican food?
No. Not in my world, but...
Believe it or not, a place called Bibiano's, I don't think it's Youngtown anymore. I think it might be Peoria. They just moved. Mom and pop type of shop,
yeah.
But authentic Mexican food, very good.
Bibiano's.
Bibiano's,
I'll have to look that one up. Well, thank you, Matthew, for coming and sharing your knowledge with us and what you do. I think it's a great thing that you do. And if there's ever anything that we can do, Great American, to help you, proceed with helping more people, we are very compassionate as well. And we have a charity program too, so maybe we can work with some of your assisted places that you work with and see what we can do to help with them too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, thank you. And I am Dana with Diggin' In with Dana, and this is Matthew Miller, and we sure thank you for listening in, and we'll see y'all next time.